Hello Internet, I'm Jackie Fox, and today I'd like to present to you the very first installment of the Fox on the Hill series. Let me first turn up my playback speed to 1.5. I think that's going to work. Make sure the sound is off. I'm going to be playing Lau's recording of this. He is Jerry Miller on server and YouTube. And this is going to be me versus Katana Meta, who is Fruit on the server, and also I believe Votive Stuff, I could be wrong, on YouTube as well. And we are playing under special rules that we essentially set for ourselves. This was really an exhibition match. We're both experienced players at a rank of 167, so we're both at the tippy top of what would be the Fox League, which is a completely different set of PvP that we're going to be doing. And this is more about, and maybe we'll use more hill maps thematically, but the idea here is that we're going to have someone who has won the previous match, and then they are defending their title, and there's going to be slightly different rule sets for our challengers and our defenders, and basically it's going to be seeing how long you can defend your title. Now, a lot of the basic rules are in place here. We are going to try to limit the amount of limited units that are available. In this particular format, we are playing entirely without limited units. Now, Valentine's Ildira is kind of a holiday unit, but also she is in the normal pool, just like Sweetheart Salir. So, she's also a Sweetheart, not a Valentine's Day. Both of them are Sweetheart units, so it's not necessarily holiday related, I guess. Anyways, those are always allowed in that they are in the normal pool. Lucio, you can get him at any time. Free units that you can pick up at any time, also fully available. We have 3 teams that we have selected without, we couldn't use limited PCs, we couldn't even use raid equipment, so these are very interesting builds that we have here. And I gotta be honest, I am not particularly used to manual, especially with this team. And getting Jaden out front is probably a mistake. I'm doing okay so far. Katana Meta, though. Is about to come in. Not too much damage on Lucio. Now I've never used Mashari really, so I'm kind of unsure of what her kit has to offer, what I could do with it. But I eventually fall upon Hallowed Ray for the Defense and Spirit up, hoping to make her a bit tanky, forming a bit of a wall in front of my Jaden, which isn't going to get me out of AoE range. I'm kind of surprised Ildira didn't come in with that AoE there, but this might be a clever move, actually, in that, well, you'll see when it happens. Now, what I'm hoping for here is an unerring shot. The issue is that he is not particularly good at shooting downhill, and he's also not particularly good at hitting her. So, unfortunately, and I think I should have known that I wasn't going to be able to hit her for much damage. It did do a decent amount of damage on Rain, though. I guess the chain helps, but here comes the LB. Perfect timing for that, because we're already at a slight disadvantage. They've taken some damage, so they've got to defend. If they can get their damage in real quickly here, then we don't stand a chance of dealing that additional damage. Now, I maybe have a chance of some KOs here with Lucio. Let's see what happens. Luminous Grace, almost certainly not hitting Sweetheart Ildira. Nope, but I did get the Seymour. Okay. Not really sure why I ran away other than instinct. Maybe hoping to bait them into using some of their CT since I was already kind of screwed. I don't know. So that is an early win for Katana Meta. Ooh, nice editing, Lau. Okay, so I'm coming in with a dark team this time. We saw an MR unit in the last fight, now we're going to see an SR unit. Arguably one of the MVPs for my team in this fight too. To be fair, Lau, I was also using the overhead view every once in a while. I was trying to use it with Jaden, but it wasn't really helping me a lot. Does that make the elevations harder to see? So this time, I'm pretty aware of the fact that I am at the range disadvantage for this fight, and that this is essentially a wind missile with support team, if you think about it. So I've got a boogie. Meanwhile, Katana is able to sit back and kind of get the buffs right. I know I've got to close this gap ASAP, because things have gotten bad. This has already taken too much time for me. And this was a terrible matchup for this team as well, because this was, out of the three teams I had, the slowest. So the one that was probably least capable of closing this gap. But here we are, getting up in their face. They're all getting turns for us, so good luck. Shield that seals our fate. By the way, if you are playing in manual, that is a fine move to use just to apply a shield to sure up your chances of victory in certain situations, such as this. Got our first Leela down. And Sadly is almost dead, but silenced, so almost useless as well. But he can be healed and can make it through this, so now, what I was really hoping for was the ability to get like Quadra Break to hit both Lucia and Ayaka, but I was one space too short of being able to pull that off. I was hoping that would be able to help, but now, because we know that Lucia is in Ranger sub, this is actually a really smart way to play zone defense and prevent me from taking out your ranged unit while also allowing your ranged unit to hit me. Now, if she was just a regular dual gunner, she wouldn't be able to shoot through her allies, but she can shoot me over them from the base thanks to her Ranger sub job. snarky editing. I love it. Okay. Third fight. Water versus lightning. This is also another Ildira team. I find it really interesting the way that both Ildiras have essentially the same, in effect, the same effect on their limit breaks. I think Sweetheart Ildira's is easier for the AI to properly utilize because the AI would have used it by now, probably. And sure, that's good for accelerating you in the beginning. Like, there are worse things the AI could be doing, right? It's also not the best way to use it, because much like Keenblade, or other moves that essentially rapidly change the tempo within battle, you really want to use it not only at the ideal moment that you're kind of pulling the trigger on your entire attack, similar to the way that I was using it in Trials of Reckoning recently, but you also want to use it at the moment in which you realize that your opponent has planned for a specific turn order, because changing that turn order dramatically, as they have come to expect and to plan for a specific scenario, especially if you're holding one of these moves until later, they haven't realized that you have it yet, that can be really effective as a strategy. And I think we might actually get to see that play out twice in this fight, which is interesting. All very big-brained manual moves, for sure. Except for this one. This one was fucking terrible. I got him out there and I realized that he couldn't hit anything, and I didn't immediately pull him back. Now, what I realized as soon as I confirmed that is that Ildira has not used her LP yet, and I'm not entirely sure that she's going to use it here, but yep, basically taking advantage of my momentary lapse in judgment to execute a chain on a unit that his weakness is really being chained on. More than one unit hitting him in succession is his weakness, which is a pretty big weakness, to be honest with you, especially when you can change tempo that rapidly. Now, what would have been more fun, what I usually like with this type of thing, and what could have worked, is if I was running Sylvie instead of Resnick, I could have brought her over maybe to the side, brought in a full life, and by the time that they were near him, he would be, right there with the Divine Thunder summon to hit the full team. Again, trying to bring in something unexpected. But at this point, I don't really have damage, and I don't have any way to recover my damage because, as noted, not Sylvie. Also, Sylvie wasn't allowed in this format to begin with, so not much I can do but step on Resnick's corpse and use a very fancy looking move. If nothing, Charlotte has excellent showmanship. So at this point it occurs to me that with her resistances and such, she is essentially a big PvE boss at this point. And the strategy is roughly the same here to... Oh, I bet they had Keenblade. And I did too, and didn't get an opportunity to use it. So this was the second use. If you thought it was going to come from both of us, it could have, but it didn't. And it didn't largely because of Ildira. I mean, I didn't really have much of anyone to Keenblade. Also, the slash attack up isn't as beneficial for this team, so I wasn't psyched to use it. I'm not, now that I think of it, as sure that I had it on her, but I probably did. Anyways, this allows them to make sure she doesn't get a turn before they break an unholy chain off in her booty hole. Which means that Katana Meta is the new Fox of the Hill. If anyone would like to challenge Katana Meta's supremacy at the top of the hill, we are running an experimental session that is going to be 5 matches. Now, that was just an exhibition match, so Katana is our first, and whoever decides to challenge them first after this, after joining the server, link in the description, will be able to be in our first fight of the initial Fox on the Hill League, and maybe, just maybe, Katana Metal will be able to hold out for all 5 fights and maintain their place at the top of the league. Or maybe you will win that first round and be the champion of the remaining 4. Or perhaps anything else could happen. I mean, who knows? That's Fox on the Hill. We also have a Fox League that's going to be divided up into 3 divisions. Right now we're looking at dividing those by rank. If you're rank 100 or below, you will be in our new player league, playing with other folks that haven't done as much story as you, I guess. And then ranks 100 through about 140 is going to be Division 2. You are our experienced and seasoned players. And then going up rank 141 and above, getting into matches like this is going to be Division 1 content. And while I'm at it, let me just explain the Fox League rules as I have written them so far. Now, we may adjust these for Season 2, but so far, Season 1's rules are this. Each player will make 3 teams, send a screenshot to a judge on our server right now. It's going to be Jerry Miller or me. You can send them to me too, if I'm not in the fight, and I'm not this time, so send them to me. You can swap between these 3 teams for your fights. You don't have to use different teams every fight, but I think we were both excited to see how all 3 of our teams fared, so we did that. You can use the same one over and over again if you want. Initial placement can be used. The match is going to be the best of 3 rounds. You can change your teams, your initial placement, all that stuff between rounds. You can even swap which slots your units are in. However, you can't change your gear, your units, or your cards after they have been submitted to a judge without resubmitting before the fight. And please try to only do 1 submission. Don't spam the judges. The winner will be the new Fox on the Hill and will defend against the next challenger as our new Hilltop Fox. So, building rules that we have decided on to try to make this approachable. For the challenger, you can use any equipment that you have. You may use 1 of any limited unit. In addition to that, you may also use 1 warrior of the Crystal or Global First unit. The 3rd unit will have to be normal pool, though. And out of your 6 vision cards, only 1 of those can be limited. Other than that, everything has to be normal pool for your vision cards as well. If you are the defending champion, the Hilltop Fox, you are limited to a cost 240 team, which is not bad, actually. It's, that's pretty permissive. You only have 1 limited unit whatsoever, 1 limited vision card, no limited gear at all. And that includes like raid gear, etc. So you're really, really going to be limited in terms of armor, in terms of accessories. That's going to be a little bit tougher for the Hilltop Fox. So defending your position as the Hilltop Fox is going to be a bit harder than you might expect. So even our more seasoned veterans might have some difficulty in doing this. And also, the Hilltop Fox must play in auto for the first 2 rounds. If the 3rd round would be a tiebreaker, if it would decide the match, they can go into manual for that. I would greatly encourage the challenger to keep this in mind, and to take this to their advantage, and to use manual for their first 2 rounds. Try to get those 2 wins under their belt so that they can perhaps get a clean sweep by winning that 3rd round and becoming the Hilltop Fox all over again. So that's how you play, that's how you build, that's how you think about it. I will see you in the next one. Like, literally, I will see your teams in the next video. Until then.